Welcome to the Lab of Life podcast. I'm your co-host, Raluca, energy healer, intuitive, homeopath, and inner voice guide.
And I'm Lena, scientific mystic and metapsychologist. We're here to explore spirituality, ancient wisdom, and cutting-edge science to optimize our human experience.
Life is complex, and we're here to simplify it for you by sharing practical insights and strategies that will inspire and empower you to unlock your full potential. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Lab of Life podcast. Today, we are diving into Pluto. We are talking all about the planet Pluto, which has been in retrograde for the past 5 months, and now it's going out of retrograde. And the big thing about this is that next year it's going to be going in a whole new sign. So we're going to dive into this today. Pluto does go into retrograde for about 5 months every year, so it's not like a super big deal. It is right now because of where it's placed. And we're just going to talk about what the placement is, what it means, how it's going to influence each sign, and what this might mean for you personally.
Yeah, because what is happening right now, besides the retrograde and the Pluto is coming out of the retrograde, Pluto is changing signs. And this is a very, very big transformative period that we need to touch on that because it's going to affect not just every one of us, but the planet in general. Everybody will be affected in a way that is very transformative because Pluto is this very, very deeply transformative planet. This planet really is known to have the powers of transformation and change, but like very, very deep transformation, not on the surface. And the symbols that are associated with this planet: transformation, power, death, rebirth, evolution, and much more, which we're gonna in details describe for you right now.
And Pluto is the farthest planet out. It was actually, well, and then it got downgraded to a dwarf planet. So it's the farthest planet out. So it's connected to our deepest subconscious. It's like the stuff that we don't really want to look at. So it just brings up that deep hidden stuff that we have. And the interesting thing about Pluto is that it has 5 moons, and one of the moons is half the size of the planet. So if you think of moons being connected to the emotions and the subconscious, and then imagine half, like the moon being half the size of the planet, like if that was on Earth, how intense the emotions would be over here.
Yes. And it also, this planet ruled by the Scorpio sign. If you know anything about the astrology, you'll know the Scorpios are the very darks. They have like this mystery about them, and they all truth seekers. They need to know, they dig into you. They need to know what is real and what is fantasy. So the Pluto is in the same way. It's like this dark planet because, like, let's say in Roman mythology, Pluto is known as the god of the underworld. So everything that's like underworld and dark side and very mysterious and has tons of shadows. So all the shadows are going to come up as well for us. It's going to touch on that and transform your life in a way that you cannot even imagine.
Okay. And the other interesting thing about Pluto is that it's seen as the generational planet. So, because Pluto moves so slowly, when it shifts into a new sign, it's considered to be a generation, like it shifts into a generation. So, I believe it's millennials, because I'm a millennial, the Pluto and for all of us will be in the sign of Scorpio, which is exactly where it feels at home in that deep underworld. So it's interesting how this planet marks our different generations, how we count millennials or Gen X, how it's connected in that way with astrology.
Yeah, and regardless of the fact that it's the smallest planet in our system, it's the most impactful and powerful karmically. It is a very slow planet. Pluto changes its sign and shifts very rarely. So last time it was changing signs from Sagittarius to Capricorn in 2008, so 15 years ago. And this is a planet of generations. So it's like just like Raluca said, it makes generational shifts and usually impacts full generational change in the world. Because like other planets like Mercury, Venus, Mars, even Saturn, they change often and work on everyday level. It impacts us more daily or like monthly. It just impacts everyday stuff. This planet and like Uranus and some other slower planets, they dig up the generational crap, sorry for my language, and transform that on a very, very deep level, major transformation. This particular planet represents the cycle of death and rebirth. So for a lot of people will die, unfortunately, during this 20 years that Pluto will be in Aquarius. But also there will be a lot of people born. And we're talking about that prior, about how the new type of people, I don't know, we were talking about on one of our podcasts already, that we're coming into the world where there will be, it's this new world, especially after 2027. We will not recognize it. It's absolutely new way of living, and the new type of people need to be born. So this is exactly what's happening right now. It's this major transition where old thinking people and old people that conform to the old ways of living will not be able to sustain the new way of living. So they need to exit, and the new people will come in. So there will be a lot of birth, major birth, like influx, and but also major death influx.
And we had an astrologer, Karina, on our podcast earlier this year, and she spoke a lot about this Pluto retrograde and how Pluto affects us. And she said that she always says that Pluto usually always wins. So whatever it needs to dig up for us, whatever lessons we need to learn and walk through, Pluto usually always wins. So even if we ignore the themes a few times and repeat the lessons a few times, it will find its way.
It will force it. Yes, it's this. It is responsible for breaking down the old, everything that's old and not serving us anymore, and making room for the new. And like, remember last time, like we will go back and talk about some historical things that happened, particularly with, when Pluto was in Aquarius last time. But 15 years ago, we can all remember there was a huge financial crash and crisis. Because Pluto symbolizes bank and finances, and that's when we were changing. That's when the Pluto was changing signs.
Pluto went in Capricorn, and Capricorn's the sign that connects with our money and finances and structure and order.
So that's kind of like very important to know which signs he's changing, and the most impactful periods are those transitional periods when it's changing the sign. So we will feel it the most during like the first 3 years or for this period. So like from right now until 2026, 2027, it will be the most impactful, the biggest transformation.
And right now, it's just about to leave Capricorn. So it's just about to leave Capricorn in March of 2024 and enter Aquarius. So this is just wrapping up all those Capricorn lessons we started. So now it's going to be felt again in the financial systems, in the systems overall, in the structures, in our, what else? Is it like politics? Yeah. So it's going to be felt in all those areas to wrap up whatever needs to be closed off, whatever needs to fall away before we enter the new age.
So yes, take a look at what was happening with you in 2028, plus minus 1 year, or a little bit like around that area. It's, if something started for you then, it will find its resolution now. And I can tell you a personal example, which was an eye opening for me. I was so like freaked out a little bit by it, even that I recently had a spinal surgery that I had to do as an emergency surgery because it was like very impactful. I had a bleeding. It was very scary. The thing is that that hernia that I created became huge. It's like the surgeon said, I have not seen anything like that in my 20 years of practice. and it started pressing on on my nerves, and I couldn't feel my legs, and it started pressing on the artery, broke the artery. It was a bleeding hemorrhage, so like a huge deal. The thing is that I started growing that hernia in 2008, pretty much. Because I remember I had an MRI and just I started having back issues, and like I felt it in 2009, and it was already like certain amount of centimeters or millimeters. So it started really grow when the Pluto changed its signs, and for me, that hernia represented safety, security, because it was in the area of my first chakra. Me feeling safe, feeling protected, feeling financially secure, being able to rely on my, like, feeling that I can rely on someone, specifically on my partner, because it was also radiating into my right leg, which is the partnership. And all of that have been growing and transforming and affecting me greatly throughout all those years. And finally, it found its resolution into the surgery. And now I mentally also doing a lot of mental work and emotional work with my therapist and with my healers to remove all the debris and everything that's left out and transform that into absolutely a different way of like seeing the world, being in a human experience, healing that portion of me that needs to be healed, connected to that particular event. But I was like, oh my God, I came to the resolution and I feel different already. Like I feel lighter. And this was connected to my financial situation. So what I'm doing, while Pluto is still shifting and changing, I am forced to clean up my financial the relationship with money for me, and with different events, like my card got blocked, my there was a fraud in my account, so I need to go into each tiny little thing and clean up, transform the way I approach money, transform the way I think about the finances. Everything that connected to that area, I'm transforming on the deepest level possible.
Yeah, that's, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's
That
crazy.
just that physical representation of it and the themes that you've noticed.
But it just tells you how much we actually collect in our physical that is connected to our emotional. Actually, pretty much everything. No, everything we collect and that is translated into the diseases in our body is from our mental and emotional stuff. So all of these emotions that have been stored there for so many years, and now they need to find their solution, because the stuff for me started way back, like emotional things started way back. And then in 2008, it got represented in the body. And now I'm finally releasing it from my emotional, etheric, energetic, mental bodies and physical bodies to start the new chapter.
Pluto won, which means that you also win.
Because it also, I found that I was trying to shift it mentally, right? I was just trying to work on it mentally, but it had to be like a complex treatment plan. Everything had to come up into place, and I was forced into the surgery. I wasn't even voluntarily going into it. It was, you forced me to go. There was no way, no other way.
Yeah, it was all very sudden and crazy, like the timing and the location of where you were. And
But everything lined up so amazingly that I'm still in at awe. I'm still processing how it was all created by me in order to get where I need to go. So I'm having goosebumps.
so now, as we're shifting out of Capricorn, we're going to have a lot of those themes closing off, resolving as much as possible for the time being. And then it's going to start moving into Aquarius. So the move into Aquarius happens in March, and March of 2024. But then, you know how it does retrograde. So every year, Pluto will retrograde for 5 months. So it'll revisit Capricorn again September 3rd, 2024. And then re enter Aquarius again for reals this time, November 20th. So this time next year, we're going to be for real in Aquarius, not revisiting Capricorn again. And that's the sign it'll be in for the next 20 years, where it first enters Pisces on March 10th, 2043, and then like really stays in Pisces in 2044. So we're entering this age of Aquarius for Pluto, And Aquarius is a sign of freedom. This shift is probably going to be really challenging for a lot of people. And Lena's an Aquarius, so she's very familiar with this energy.
Yeah, well, the challenge will be because Pluto is the sign of control and pressure, and Aquarius is the sign of like I'm not following any rules. I need the freedom. I cannot stand the control. Everything needs to be flowy. So that's going to be a power struggle between the sign and the Pluto planet. So it's in this control and pressure in the Pluto that we mentioned is extremely hard to resist. That's why this particular planet brings a lot of deep transformation and changes. So, but because it would be combining with Aquarius, is that it's also like a very innovative planet, right? It's a planet of the future. I'm sorry, it's a sign in it's a very innovative sign. It's a sign of the future. It's a sign of new things, creating new things. So, oh,
And thinking of
yeah,
the collective, Aquarius is all about the collective and
yeah,
being one and being all connected. So it's going to bring beautiful things. It's just going to be an uncomfortable transition from Capricorn, like this place of order and systems and
yes.
all
All
that
of
it
that
was.
it will go away. It will break free during the Aquarius era. It will be, oh my God, and there will be so many clashes of powers and so many rebellions and all the movements and rebellious against governments, which we kind of already can see that the heating up situations all over the world. So rest assured, there are going to be more and more of that because the old systems have to be destroyed to make new for the new system, to make way for the new system. So, and without revolution and the movement, unfortunately, without then destruction, for now it's not possible. We still live in a world where in order to create something new you have to first destroy something old. Sometimes this destruction is very painful, but unfortunately very necessary.
Well, it's like the seasons, right? Winter
Mhm.
needs to come, fall needs to come, things need to fall away, and the leaves that die, they feed the plants in
Mhm.
the spring. And
It's the circle of life.
it's the circle of life. So, speaking of revolution, the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, the French Revolution took place. So the last time Pluto was in Aquarius was 1789. So
Yeah.
there's changes that we can expect, and I know it's all going to lead us in a good place, in a lighter and better place.
Well, United States also separated. So there was the war in United States. So in 1975, 1775 through 1783, where United States separated from England. So there was like
Mm,
things like that, and even more intense will be happening right now for the next 20 years or so.
we can do it.
Of course, we are equipped, and that's the thing. If you worry about the fact that, oh my God, how am I going to handle it? And I know, well, all my clients are in the state of what is happening right now. I can handle it. And I was myself in this very deep, dark depression for the past couple of months. But now I know I was preparing for the transition that just happened. And now I have this burst of energy that I'm like, oh my God, I'm alive again. I'm alive. So know that you are equipped for this transition. You have all you need in your body, in your presence, in your human design that you can utilize in order to go through this transition in the easiest, best possible way. The more you let go, the more you work on just releasing, letting go yourself, the easier this transition will be on you. So do your work. I usually say to my clients, don't wait to be pushed out of the comfort zone. When you walk out of the comfort zone yourself, whatever transition you're going through will be so much easier if you compared to if you're being pushed out forcefully from it. So start making the steps, stop clearing out, and we will give you advice for each particular signs further on what needs to be done for you to go through this transition in the best possible way. But just know that it's happening and it's inevitable. So the faster you get through it, the better you will be off.
So I'm still going through something. I know, like Lena's been feeling low, and now she's in this light and beautiful place. I still feel like I'm walking through mud over here. I don't know what's going on with me. Every single day, I'm like waking up and I'm like, I know I have to take these steps to move forward. And I'm just like, it really does feel like I'm dragging myself, like walking through mud, and everything's just so slow
Yeah.
and hard
And so emotional. Yes,
and so
emotions are over the
emotional.
top. I
Yeah.
know.
And, we'll get through it, but it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We've been like trying to do things to increase our dopamine, and I've been talking about that. And we made a challenge for ourselves to do these things, and like walking
Yes.
every day and meditating and doing forgiveness and gratitude and all the good things. So we're
I
working
know,
on
but
it.
you are making the steps, and I do want to say that Raluca has something exciting coming up too. She's going to have her own podcast, and I cannot wait to listen to it. And that's what she will be talking eventually about the dopamine and how to increase the levels of dopamine, which we can do too here later on. But I think she'll start.
Yes, that's right.
Do you
And this
want to talk
podcast is
about that?
actually coming out October 13th, so Friday, October 13th. So it'll be out by the time this episode is out. And if you want to go give it a listen, it's called Rise with Verluca.
Ugh, I'm so excited. I have goosebumps. So you are doing something. It's just like it's challenging. It's I know what you're talking about. It's like oh, yeah, that's exactly how it feels like. No words, just oh
Yeah, that's the energy of it. Like, you just want to hide under a blanket. But
yeah, and eat all the
but even
comfort
that's
food.
uncomfortable. Even if I'm like, I'm just going to sit on the couch and do nothing, even that's uncomfortable. So
Yeah,
it's less
yeah.
uncomfortable to do something.
But yes, I know I mean, many of us know, but everybody should know. And scientists prove that already so many times that we grow only through discomfort. Unfortunately, the way we set up as humans, we cannot grow through pleasure. I don't know who said that, but I think I think it's a Buddha said, if the God created things for that to move, the God created discomfort for you to move because otherwise you'd be sitting in place and you'll die. Because if we're satisfied and everything's great, we are sitting in place. We don't want to move. So that agitation, the uncomfortable situation, discomfort is created for us to move, grow, expand, because that's how we thrive as humans. The more we move, the better we are off.
Yes.
So move through that discomfort. Even a little tiny steps bring you closer to go through the hump, and then you as soon as you go it becomes better, but then you know the next thing will come, and that's just life.
Yeah, and we're creatures of habit, and our bodies like to do what they're doing. So if you stand still for too long, then you want to keep standing still, and then it takes a
Yeah.
lot of push to like start going again. But if you're taking little steps, then that builds momentum, and then you don't want to stop because you're moving forward. So
Yeah, okay, so with this Pluto transition, especially keep in mind basically the first 3 years when it's really shifting and changing the sign, be prepared to force yourself to move. And the more you do that, it will become a habit too, and then you'll be able to do it and become a part of it. It will become a part of you. It will be easier to shift from one thing to another. It is interesting that human design, and we talked about human design in our previous episodes. So if you have not heard those episodes, go give it a listen. So there is also prediction that 2024-2027 will be a period of a great impactful transition. So that you can see how astrological predictions and human design predictions intertwine. With human design, we did not really touch on that in the episode, but many human design practitioners are talking about this impactful transition. After this transition, the world will never be the same. And we will move into the complete new phase of existence for the next 400 plus years. And then maybe we'll have an episode on that. Let's see. Because this is a very interesting topic. But whatever we give you right now, it sort of resonates with the human design prediction about the next 400 plus years as well.
so Pluto is moving into Aquarius March 24th for a bit until June. And during this time, those people who are born in the sign of Aquarius will start feeling the first impact of the shift. Although think they've been feeling it already.
It already. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's waiting until then. So I think Aquarius feels it first, and then it goes next sign after Aquarius, which is Pisces, and I feel like I'm feeling
Yeah.
this already. So
Yeah.
I think it's been sending its signals over. So the Aquarians will feel the first impact of the shift, and then it'll go back into Capricorn in June for us to finish any of our unfinished business, any of our unfinished business with money, structures, systems, all of those Capricorn qualities. And we will be really pushed to clean up anything that we need to clean up, anything that we forgot to do at this time, or if we are ready to go even deeper in what we had cleaned up. And this is all to help us just in the next phase of our human experience, in the next phase of where the world and our reality is going. And then on January 27th, oh, do you want to say that part? Because it's right after your birthday.
Oh, so that will be, I mean, turbulent, but very interesting 3 years from 2024 to 2027. Um, I'm scared a little, well, excited too, because, that will be, I do want to go into the new world. I am as Aquarius, me as an Aquarius. I am burdened by the way things are in our current world. I have this
Too many
struggle.
rules, too many
I
restrictions.
know. I have this constant struggle with my partner, which is interesting. I had that with previous partners as well, because they're very structured and this is how it needs to be. And I'm like, I keep saying that I'm going to go get my PhD and it will be the nice and easy process. I am not going to work like a slave because this was the current way to get a PhD, the way that, like the PhD that I want. It's like you have to really work hard and work at the bottom and be like a slave to the professors and things like that. I'm like, I'm just going to do it and I'm going to do it in the highest and best way and with my own rules in my own way. And he's like, you live in the fantasy world. This is not going to happen. I'm like, just watch me and see. So I am very excited that the transformations that come in, and we already see an educational system changing with COVID pushed us through to a completely different way of teaching, and we can see how the rules are changing. I actually this summer I was taking a class which I was like, oh my god, I'm so happy that those classes are coming into play. So my psychology professor, who's been a psychologist forever and only was like structured on scientific psychology, finally had a class on consciousness. And I'm like, oh my god, that's it. We're gonna soon have a metaphysical department at UCLA for sure. So I am extremely excited about the fact that there are going to be different rules. And I'm not saying that we should live without the rules because that's how societies fall. But I do feel that the rules that we had in place, they already not valid. They already exhausted their existence. And we need to move into something more innovative. And we need to move like with the rise of the AI, with the rise of the new way of thinking and being, it all need to happen. The old paradigm need to shift into the new paradigm. Are you excited?
I am excited. I'm a little bit apprehensive, like you said, a little bit scared. Not because I don't want it to happen, but because I know what clearing and letting go of old things
Yeah.
means, and I'm already uncomfortable. I'm already emotional. I'm like, am I going to be able to do this? And I know I will be able to do this, but I'm going to cry a lot while doing it.
Oh yes, definitely. And I would like to give advice to everyone there. The best way for now, because we all started feeling emotions like never before. And this just pushes us to learn how to like manage emotions and what to do with emotions. It will really push us to increase our emotional intelligence, because this would be the way of living in the new world. So the actual mental intelligence will give away of emotional intelligence, and whoever is more emotionally intelligent, it will be easier for them to succeed in the new world. So what I would advise, get on that, learn how to recognize your emotions and how to process them properly without them being stuck in your body and not channel them onto other people. So when you become a master of that, trust me, it's going to be so much easier to go through any transformation, because we here on earth, like we come here to learn just that, how to process and like harness and master our emotions, and how to channel those emotions and energy behind those emotions into the right place, into the creation of the world that we want to create. So get on it. I believe we did talk about some techniques and tools in our previous episode. We have an episode on emotions, right?
We do. We have episode on processing emotions and one on processing anger, which is
Yeah,
that's a big one.
yeah, that's a big one. That's gonna
And we
come
might
up a lot.
revisit it again because I feel like we've learned
We
more
will,
over the
we
past few
will.
months. So we will
Yeah,
come back with talking about emotions.
yeah. So definitely be on a lookout to that episode on how to recognize, process emotions, and channel them in a way that they're beneficial for you and not destructive.
Yeah. All right. So now with Pluto going into Aquarius, we are going to have well, this is the feeling, the prediction with knowing the energy of Aquarius, um, that there's going to be a lot of movements for freedom, against control and power, and it's going to be a restructuring of the way government runs and just freedom for equality and freedom for rights and maybe even fights for territories. And Pluto is known as the equalizer, the great equalizer, the equalizer. And it
Mhm.
takes away from those, I don't want to say it takes away from those that have too much. It balances things out. It balances out things out the way that is more supportive of the collective, especially going into Aquarius.
Because Pluto is an equalizer, people might lose stuff at first, but then they'll, if they doing what they need to be doing, they will gain it all back. So it's important, if you do lose something at the beginning, don't get all upset and frustrated, because it means you need to lose it, you need to let it go in order for you to gain something else back, for you to step on the like for you to step into the right, look onto the right path for you. And I know David Meltzer has a really good, like, his all teachings right now are based on the fact that he had $100 million, was super successful, and then lost it all to become who he is right now, because the way he was making money before, and he earned like way more. So in order to become who he is and let go all ways and let go of the ways that are not serving him, he needed to lose everything to learn a lesson and then gain it all back. So it is very important to remember that, because as I said, as Raluca said, Pluto is a great equalizer. So he will, if you have a lot of money and you not go in the right way, you might lose this money. But also, if you don't have any money but you are going the right way, you will gain some financial stability, and maybe even more than you could even imagine. So right now it's all about finding yourself, finding your authenticity, find the ways you can contribute to the world with being you. So not in a weasel wiggle way, with the way that is not honest, making money that is not really serving others. So all of that will be corrected. And for those who lose things, don't be frustrated, because again, it only forces you to become more you and do things that are better for you and those around you.
That's right. It's the message that I keep hearing over and over again, that authenticity is going to become the greatest currency, that we just
Yeah.
have to make sure we're ourselves and we are authentic.
Yes, authenticity is huge, and transparency is the one, and is the other thing. We will be forced to become more transparent. I mean, even now, like, if you don't want people to know anything about you, you really just should live off the grid in a forest, because everything is out there. You can be like, anybody can find anything about you now. So the more transparent you are in general, the more you live your life in a transparent way, the easier it would be for you. You can own anything you do and say, and you don't have to worry about it. And people, yeah, you can go and see what I'm doing, I'm not worried about that. So yeah, privacy will take a toll. But as I said, the more transparent you are, the easier it will be for you to exist in the new world.
Hmm. And with Pluto going into Aquarius and being in this age of Aquarius, a lot of things will be even more transparent, like you said. So, like social media, communication, um,
Mhm.
everything being connected, everything being more virtual and less physical. And social media will probably get even more
Oh
connected
yes,
and
more connected,
faster, and there will
more.
be new social media platforms.
Yeah, for sure. It would be more widespread because, as we mentioned below, Pluto is about masses. It's about being big, expensive, expanded, like more and more people involved. So social media and internet, everything's going to be even more
And I
expanded.
think that can be such a good, beautiful tool, but it can also be scary depending on how it's used and who's in power. But I always believe that the good will win. And as long as people are connected with their higher selves, which is why this work is so important. If you are connected with your higher self, you are connected with your soul, then you wouldn't make certain choices. So the more people do this work, the inner work, the better, like, the future of humanity will be. So don't even underestimate your work. It'll have a ripple effect onto other people around you. So some other things we can expect are new social systems, pensions, social services, universal health care.
Yeah, I will be. I won't be surprised that the pension system might not exist at all. Something different will come in its place, like something that we just cannot imagine yet. And for many people, it will be scary, like, "Oh my God, I've been working on my life to get this pension." But again, if you are in line with yourself, I'm gonna repeat this a lot throughout this podcast. It will be great for you. The new thing that will come, it will be better than you can imagine.
I know, because we all have this illusion of comfort and of structure and of things being predictable, but they never really are because the only constant is change. And
Yes.
I think we will see that a lot with this new shift.
So there are going to be a tumbling of dictatorships. So countries that still have dictatorships, we will watch. They will have revolutions, so we'll be watching how it's slowly being dissipated. And again, we can see like some revolutions are already happening in different various countries, and it's just going to be more of that coming.
So with social media, we will see changes in communication because this is very much Aquarius energy. So anything internet related, futuristic, AI, the internet as it is will change and become faster and 6G, 7G, whatever else it may be. Maybe not even that. It could
Maybe
because
not
something
even that.
completely different,
Yeah.
like different formats.
Yep.
And even how now we're able to connect in 3D and um, through the meta universe, it could even become more than that, like incorporating other senses or seeing realistic holograms, just so many different things.
And I was just watching that Alex Friedman, he's like a famous podcaster, was doing an interview with Mark Zuckerberg, the Facebook founder, and it was freaky. They were sitting like their realistic holograms were created to be in person, but they look identical. It was hard, and the voices and everything was there, and they are able to interact with each other like they're sitting across the table from each other, being in completely different states, which was really, I was like, oh my God, it was so, this is the future, but it's freaky. But also,
Yeah.
like, imagine when like you talk to your mom and she cooks something that you really like, and you can, through the phone or video call, you can smell the smells. Like the AI will be able to replicate the smells for you of the thing that she's cooking. And yeah, that would be freaky but amazing. Like
Yeah.
we don't have to travel at all.
I always say I wish somebody could send me food over like over
Yeah,
the internet,
over
like whatever
phone.
they're cooking. uh,
Yeah.
maybe.
So, and then, we might be able to have already chips in our heads for communication. It's already existing, and Elon Musk already has the Neuralink project full force on. That is, I think they already started testing it, which is, again, I'm not sure how I like, if I want any intrusion in my physical body, because I'd rather learn how to communicate telepathically using the
That's how I
abilities
feel
that we
too.
can
Yeah.
instead
I
of
don't think
putting
anything
some.
needs to be in our body. I think it's something we can tap into.
We're capable. Yeah.
I'm very resistant to that,
Yeah.
to the chip or any implants or yeah. So there could be new platforms coming as well, like YouTube or Instagram might disappear. Did we say that?
Well, yes, of course, because it's a prediction that we make up. So they might not disappear, but they might be transformed into something better, which
Yeah.
that's exactly what it will come. But new platforms will come for sure. But then we
Yeah.
just don't even know what that will be because it's going to be completely something different that we cannot predict. Like look at the TikTok. When it started, it was like such a silly, stupid app. To be honest, we were looking. I was looking at like, oh my god, what is this even? And now look how it's developed into something so impactful.
Yeah. And that's what we mean, not that something will disappear, just that something else new might come through to kind of take over the attention, kind of like TikTok did.
Well, the huge transformations are coming in tourism too, because as I said, the more we gonna be involved into the meta and connecting through the other stuff, people will start traveling less or will travel differently, and the flights probably going to be different. I mean, they already coming up with Elon Musk has the project where they're testing the rocket travel. So instead of going like a plane going you come going up and going straight and going down, the rockets will just go up and down, which will save like you can go to China for like within an hour because it's just like you up and goes down, so it saves an enormous amount of time, and it just breaks the atmosphere. It doesn't go too far, but it goes down immediately. So it will be a new way of traveling. We might be traveling on the rocket ships soon instead of the planes, and especially if it's like earth friendly and doesn't emit many like bad fuels and everything like that, that'll be the new way of traveling. But again, I would like to travel telepathically. It would be so great, like if I could just jump. That movie Jumper, I want to rewatch it, where the guy was able just to teleport whatever he could, whatever he wanted to. I want to do that. I want to learn
I
how to do
will,
that.
I would love that as well. I don't know if we'll get there in the next 20 years, but we'll see.
Oh, anything is possible.
Anything is possible. So weather. Aquarius is an air sign. We might see influences in the air, and in our weather. So Pluto is the planet of control. So we might try to take over control of the weather, which I mean could be fun in some ways. And it could also bring huge transformation of the weather. Um, it's been said that Earth's axis has shifted eastward at an estimated rate of 1.7 inches every year due to a decade's worth of consistent groundwater extraction and relocation. So, because of the water has been relocated, it has shifted how the Earth angles itself. And this can affect climate on a global scale. And soon enough, we can have a complete change of seasons and weather all over the world. Which, this happens periodically. It has happened in the history of the world. We go through different seasons, we go through ice ages, we go through different climate changes throughout the world. So we could have changes of the seasons, we could have changes of temperatures. And I think we're already feeling this. Like winter is so much longer in Canada. And our summers have been mild, but we'll see.
Well, I love research. So like every time I can confirm my statements with research, I'm getting very excited. So this thing that Earth's changing axis emerged recently, which is kind of freaky because it means that it's like shifted, even if it's a little shift, but it will completely change the weather system and the ecological system in each portion of Earth. So we do have the research published, the study published that talks about that. So if somebody as nerdy as me likes to dig into it, we will leave the link of that study in our description so you can check it out for yourself and see what are the pluses, minuses, and where all of that is going. And Pluto is also connected to poison, but for us it's like pollution, right? Poison and pollution. So there will be changes with like in regards to that. So maybe new laws about pollution, since Aquarius symbolizes air, so there could be like some sort of like a air cleaning systems or new laws or anything like that. So some of the things will come out in regards of that, but also there could be some new pollution, like noise pollution, for example, or whatever else that can come up. I don't know. So just be on the lookout of that. I mean, we all can influence that one person at a time for sure. We can reduce pollution, maybe, recycle more, do all of that. But it's just going to be like such a great transformation that we will be forced to do it now. And I think it's good. Like, I'd like to reduce pollution and make sure we're all breathing nice, clean air and the food is nice. I just saw that in California, the news just come out that California banned three food colorings that are poisonous for us and had been in food forever. Some, as I said, I love living in California, and I love that there are so many. On one side, I hate the restrictions and so many laws, but many of them are actually very innovative and futuristic that kind of like leads us to better, healthy lifestyle. Like, I think California energy in general is like a healthy lifestyle. Because of its position, because of its weather, it is easier here to, if you're not into healthy lifestyle, to kind of like drift into it. And the fact that we don't have smoking anywhere and smoking is prohibited, I love it. Because I hate smoke. I hate anything connected to cigarette. I cannot stand cigarette smell, and I really believe in the secondhand smoking that is affect you greatly. So yeah, definitely loved it about California.
I wonder if California is an Aquarius.
Ooh, that is an interesting thing
You
to
should look up California's birthday.
research. I will do that for sure, for sure.
All right. And then on that topic, we were also talking about frequencies and like sound pollution. So another thing that might come up with Pluto being in Aquarius is things around frequencies, like some new regulations in regards to frequencies. It could be radio or sound frequencies. Just remember there's like such a small amount of frequencies of wavelengths we can even perceive as humans. There's outside of that, there's infrared, then there's all the different sound waves, the radio waves, microwaves. It's a huge range that we are not even perceiving, and so much we can be exposed to so much throughout the day that we're not even aware of, but it does affect us because we are energetic. Like a lot of people have sensitivity to Wi-Fi. I went and got like a sensitivity testing through muscle testing, and you can do this for foods and molds and even different frequencies. And the practitioner was saying that everybody tests as sensitive to Wi-Fi signals because we're exposed to them all day long, and we can be in very close proximity to them, especially how connected we are to the internet and how we can have Wi-Fi routers like in the same room as us, and so we do have some sensitivities to that. So there might be some new regulations in that sense.
Maybe we will learn how to perceive different frequencies better, because it's not that we're not affected. Just like Roluka said, we are affected by all those frequencies. We're just consciously not aware of it, but our body reacts. Our energetic body reacts. We react to it. It just, we consciously don't even know. Pluto also symbolizes weapons, which is interesting because sound can be a weapon. There could be new weapons emerging that we don't even know that they're weapons yet, right? Because anything can be turned into a weapon. So, since the Pluto is the planet of war and underground, and that that is a possibility that there will be like space wars, which I think is crazy, right? But like, it not necessarily Star Wars, because we might connect to the outer world. And I just saw again somewhere in the news that I don't know who is giving up. Oh, the ring, that the bell ring thing. it gives some sort of that you put like on your door that has like a little camera and
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
would ring. Yeah,
Yes.
so they give out, and I don't know if it's true or not, we can double check and put it in our notes. They give out some sort of a reward for someone who can give them videos of aliens through the ring. Like if somebody recorded any type of alien activity, which it feels like it is emerging more and more. Like aliens, like getting now again, like they, like in the 80s and 70s they were like on the radar, and now that's like coming back again. So it's totally possible that during the 20 years we will have some connection with them and maybe even be at war with them. Like maybe we have to protect ourselves. Hopefully not. I'm really hoping not.
Mm-mm. I mean, I think aliens are way more advanced than us, and
Exactly, I think so too, but we might be fighting ourselves in space, which is totally possible. We were like, yeah. But yeah, the weapons will change, which I love, because I'm not a big supporter of any type of weapons that exist right now, especially like heavy artillery weapons, and with a lot of, because I don't know anything positive that can come out of it. If you can have a heavy if you can have those heavy weapons in your house, it means you are aggressively, your aggression is already directed into killing. Even if it's for protection, because I know a lot of people come, well, this is for protection. We have to protect ourselves. Well, if you are not afraid to live in the world, and if you can trust the world is a beautiful place, you don't have to worry about protecting yourself. If you emit the love frequency, it's very hard to go back to you with the hate frequency. I was just talking to my partner yesterday. And we were discussing. It's like it's very hard to be angry at the smiling baby, or if something smiles at you. It is very, even if you're in this rage and this cute smiling baby comes to you, you automatically soften up. So this is where we should be thriving to go. Smile more. Emit the love frequency. Clear yourself from any type of debris like guilt, shame, I don't know, grudges. Like work through that forgiveness. The more you forgive them, the clearer and higher frequency your body will become. And you don't have to worry about protecting yourself. And you don't have to worry about being angry and like aggressive towards someone, because it's just going to be pure love. Isn't it going to be amazing if we can reach all states?
well, I agree with that, but but everybody has to work on that. And some people, we can be
Mhm.
love, but we also have to remember that sometimes, like, our responsibility is to send out love, but not everybody is ready to receive it. So sometimes we can send out love and have the best intentions and be completely shut down, or the person won't even be in the space to
Yeah, but if
receive.
you are, my point was that if you believe that the world is a loving, trusting place, there will be no occurrences for you to prove you otherwise.
Yeah.
But that's like you have to have a belief, because we're programmed to, like, our amygdala, the organ in the brain, is the protection organ. It operates only, there's danger everywhere, I need to protect myself to survive. So we're genetically programmed to, for survival, and like protect ourselves and be fearful. So when we work on that, when we dig deeper and train our body and train our brain to not run on that monkey brain, and really use our subconscious and conscious brain to understand that there's no really fear, because we really create the world around us, right? We really, everything that's around you, it's your creation. So
Mhm.
if it's a dangerous place and somebody's harming you, that's pretty much, you need that for something. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people, I'm sure are going to get like a big emotional response to those words, and I struggle with them myself. Trust me, sometimes when bad things happen to me, I'm like, I could not have created this sucks. No, this is not true, this is not true. But then when I dig deeper, I'm like, oh yeah, oh yeah, I did this. Let's just see how we can remedy this. But it's a struggle to kind of reshape and change the DNA, even because the DNA comes as the informational portal, right? We receive information through the DNA as well, and DNA is Pluto too. So Pluto and Aquarius mix will bring a lot of changes to the DNA research, medical treatments, and medical treatments will start beginning with DNA changes, which yeah, we can kind of already see that babies can be created, right? And DNA can be shaped, and there will be more of that. Like we will be able to prevent diseases by shifting the DNA sequence, right? Affecting the DNA in order for people don't have those genetically genetic diseases. And so yeah, DNA modification to treat diseases is and prolong the lifespan, right? We'll be able to shift the informational sequence that we have to live longer. So it's not going to be just like a physical impact, right? Exercises, eating better, things like that. We're going to go in and start genetically modifying ourselves to live longer, which is, again, it's given me like a little bit of an anxiety, but it is definitely a future. DNA modification is already a current thing, and it's just going to become more and more and more and more advanced. Oh,
I'm also not comfortable with that being done through science, but I do think that we shift our DNA through the work we do and the lifestyle that we do, and through working through our beliefs. Because the big thing with DNA is, like, our encoded DNA is what it is, but our lifestyle is what decides what genes get turned off and on. And I and we do that through our
yeah,
choices.
exactly. And we do. There is like a lot of moment, but that's the thing. So you and I are believe in going through this work and really getting to the other side through this deep work and really getting great results. Most of the people still will want to get a shortcut because it's just a human nature. We want to get to from place A to place B the fastest way possible, the easiest way possible, right? So the medical DNA interventions will, of course, take place. And I mean, I'm all for getting help whenever you can get help. So I'm not saying that medicine, like Western medicine, is something evil or something bad and you should not be using. In fact, in my case, with the surgery, there was no other way for me to move forward. I had to have the Western medicine intervention for me to move forward. That was at the point where I couldn't do it energetically anymore. And I had to use that help from the outside in order to be able to clear that debris because it was too much of it. I accumulated too much of it. And that's it. Like it was not in my power to do it energetically. The same goes like if you have some sort of like Pluto is actually connected to long lasting diseases, like diseases that take a long time, or like chronic diseases, or like diseases like cancer. So I'm all for utilizing everything that you can have in order to get better, including Western medicine. But definitely do extensive research, definitely understand what is happening to your body at every stage, at every point. What I loved about the place where I did my surgery, right, I did it at Stanford Medical Center. They explained to me every tiny little detail. They showed me pictures, they showed me MRI videos, they showed me, he's like, I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna do the incision here and I'm gonna cut it out this, and I'm like, oh, I'm in heaven. I know how everything's gonna happen, and I could say yes or no to it too. I had the choice.
Mhm.
Like, you're gonna do this and not gonna do this. I'm gonna get this medicine and not this medicine. I don't really want to take extra medications that absolutely not serving me because I know my body and I know how it's recovering. And I had the surgery in the morning. Was out at the hospital. It's an extensive back surgery, but I was out and walking in the evening because, again, I know my body. I know how to work with it already, and I know how to energetically influence it. But I did need that little push from the outside in order to fix it. So for people who have those diseases, do the mental work, but with help from other sources. For sure, if you can utilize the help. It's like that joke when the person prays to God, can I please win the lottery? And the God says, can you please just buy a ticket?
Yeah,
So
we have
utilize
to do our
all
part.
the things. Yeah, do all your parts. Or there was another joke also, like this person, there's a flood and the person is trying to save themselves and he's sitting on a tree and praying to God, like, God will help me. I'm so trustful that God will save me. And there's a boat coming past, and the guy's like, they tell to him, come to the boat. And he's like, no, 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 God will help me. Then the second boat goes by and they say, come on the boat. And he's like, no, no, I truly believe that the God will help me. The third boat goes by. He didn't go on it. And then he dies because, there is a flood. goes to heaven, and he comes to God and he's like, why didn't you help me? I was praying to you. And then God is like, I sent you 3 boats. Why didn't you use them? So it's
Yeah.
the same thing. Use all your boats, use everything that comes to you, but please, like, do the work. In mental work and emotional work and energetic work is going to become extremely important and impactful in this new world where we go into.
Yes. Pluto also symbolizes sex. So we could have some
Hmm.
sort of sexual revolution, how we see sex, our relationship with sex, and our sexuality can be revisited and transformed too. So Pluto goes deep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, and it, like, sex connected. Well, Pluto is like a death and rebirth, right? Right. It's a planet of death and rebirth. So
Yes.
death, of course, it's gonna. Unfortunately, there are gonna be a lot of deaths because many people, they just don't want to move forward. It's not like, because we all have a choice, but those people, it's just like, it's too hard, the bodies are too worn out, the bodies are not ready to, like, they did not do the work that needed to be done. So many people will exit in different ways, but also tons and tons new people will be born with new abilities, new things. And I was just discussing with Raluca about autistic kids. We saw this video where the boy spins. We also, I can leave a link in our description. It was amazing. The autistic boy, he spins in circles like, it looks like magic. Like, I don't even know how he doesn't get dizzy like that. And Raluca
Mhm.
mentioned he's probably like creating a vortex to clear out the space where he is, which is totally possible. So people who are deemed who deem autism as a disease, right? Like, because, oh my God, this is a disorder, and those poor kids, we don't know that. Those could be the new people for the new world, because new world needs exactly those type of people, and that's how they're going to be the new normal. We're not. So and I'm saying that in the sense, don't really say what's normal and what's not normal, what's good or bad, because there's no such a thing. We don't know what will serve us in the future and what will don't. So all those abilities that autistic kids and kids with other disabilities have, they might be just the instruments that are needed to succeed in the new world. And yeah, so that the new life creation will come into place too. So everybody who couldn't get pregnant, wanted to get pregnant, most likely will get pregnant. So just, yeah, a little hope for you there. And new ways of conceiving kids will come up, right? Soon enough, we might not need to have sex to have children. We'll be doing it in other ways, but we're just going to have sex for pleasure, not for procreation, right? And yeah, so um, the technologies, right? The new technologies will come up, new research, new ways how to do research, new style of research will come up. And everything that's connected to that will transform. Pluto also represents, like, anything that connected to the nervous system. There will be new development, new discoveries, like specifically how sounds and waves and frequencies affect our nervous system, and how to there will be possible new laws limiting the use of some devices because it impacts us in the way that we don't even realize.
And it's been interesting because I've been seeing people talk about the nervous system more and more. It's been becoming more prevalent, just people talking about nervous system regulation and especially breath work and that how that can help our nervous system and just other tools that help our nervous system. Because I also think in this time where we're working through so much and experiencing so many changes, we do need to have a strong nervous system to be able to hold all those things. Otherwise, if your over nervous system is overworked, you just feel like you fall apart
Yeah,
at the smallest challenge that you can't possibly take on anymore. So it is a regulated nervous system is huge. It's one of the most important things.
exactly. I definitely agree on that. Um, the other stuff that Pluto will bring, most likely, is the end of monarchy, because Pluto represents, like, powerful people, powerful structures, monarchy, rulers, right, dictatorship, and things like that. And Aquarius is all about common people and community and connection and being simple and being humble and all of that. So there will be, like, this clash and transition and transformation. So I most likely monarchy can just cease to exist altogether. I'm going to make a prediction and let's see if it happens. I feel that King Charles will be the last king of England. Well, maybe William, but I really feel that it's going to kind of end on King Charles. Let's see. I'm going to be curious. But did you know that in Australia they started to remove? I think Australia is going to become a republic. I could totally see it happening too. They started to remove the Queen of England from the money. They don't want to have Queen or King or anybody on their money anymore, which I thought was interesting because they had this for years, right?
Yeah,
So many years since Australia was originated.
that is interesting.
Indeed. Yeah. And the secrets. So the secrets, dirty secrets, great, powerful people secrets will come out. So, as I said before, we are all being pushed into this full authenticity and transparency. So, authenticity will become your frequency. I mean, will become your currency. People will come onto you. You will be selling your authentic self. So what you can give to the world, that's what will bring you the material stuff. So the more authentic you are, the more successful you will become in this new setting. Just like really understand, and the more transparent you are with the world, the better it would be for you, the easier it would be for you to exist. So like authenticity and transparency will be slowly taking hold, and it will be so much harder to keep secret. I mean, it's already hard to keep secrets, but it will become way harder. So yeah, unless you live in off the grid,
Yeah.
start working on being transparent and like really watching when you lie, even if it's a little lie, because we all lie. It's like, let's just accept that. But some lies are really impactful and hurtful, and they really negative. But some lies are like, "Ah, I just didn't want to deal with it, so I just like said it. It's not a big deal," but it is a big deal. Everything is a big deal because the more you lie, even if it's little tiny lies, the further you are from you. Because if you fully embody yourself, there is really no need. Like, instead of saying to your friend, like, your friend wants you to go out and you don't really feel like it, just because you just don't feel like it, but you don't want to explain, so you say, "Oh, I'm not feeling well, I'm sick." And even if you're not sick, because you just want to lay on the couch and do nothing.
Mhm.
So if you own yourself, if you authentic self, if you have good boundaries, you can easily say, "Yeah, I don't feel like going out today. I just want to lay on the couch and do nothing," and be totally like good about it. And your friends, if it's a good friend, right? If it's a real friend, and if your boundary is really solid, they will have no problem with it whatsoever. So yeah,
This
definitely
part
take it
is hard for me, and because
it's hard for
I am a bit of a private person, and I
a bit, a
yeah.
bit.
There's a lot of things I don't say or I hold back, so that's gonna be a big lesson for me. That I mean, I'm already working on it. I'm already taking steps on it, but it is uncomfortable, and that it is something that I'm working on, and I know I'm gonna be pushed through this to get to the other side.
And it's not that you like have to, "Oh, I just have to tell the truth everywhere and everywhere," like those people who have just diarrhea of the mouth. No, that's not what I'm talking about. You still have to have a solid boundary, and you don't have to say anything if you don't want to say anything. That's the other thing. You can just say no, and that will be enough. And you don't even have to explain yourself. And also, you don't have to give people advice, and you don't have to tell them what you think, and you don't have to tell them how they should behave. You don't have to tell people the truth, in the sense of like, "Oh, you don't look very good today," and deem yourself as like, "But I'm being honest."
Mm,
But that's not real honesty. You're just hurting person to hurt person. They didn't ask you how they look today, did they? But even if they did, you can say it in a nicer way. You can say it, "Yeah, you look a little bit tired today. What's going on?" You can say that in a way, and instead of like, "Oh, you look like shit today." Um,
The goal is to
but
be as honest as you can be in each moment while also being loving and kind.
yes, this is beautiful for sure. Absolutely. This is a great quote. I'm taking it. Um, Pluto also represents addiction, so there will be massive transformation on that. The Aquarius represents the freedom from addictions, which we will see, and we already see like so many new treatments coming out, and this new psychedelic movement that comes up. it's really good for letting go of the addiction, becoming free of the addiction, because addictions are nothing more than our traumas are being repressed. If the person is addicted, that is just trying to escape whatever so painful happened to them before, that they cannot deal with it in the present time. So that will be transformed, and we will see addictions slowly disappear because we'll be cleaning that debris, we'll be releasing that debris. And I recently started microdosing with this new mushroom. It's called Amanita. Well, it's not new. It's really ancient. It's called Amanita muscaria, which is excellent for addiction. Because I remember my grandma, who she used to be a healer, like naturopathic healer in Ukraine. She used to make tinctures from this mushroom, kind of poisonous when you eat it raw. So definitely don't eat it raw. Eat it with, like, take it from the professionals who know what they're doing. She would make tinctures and sell them to women who secretly would give that to their husbands who are alcoholics or have any other addictions, and it would cure them. It was like a magical potion. I remember that. Like, I would see all these potions on the shelf, be like, oh my God, my grandma is magical. She makes magical potions, because those women were so grateful to her, because alcoholism in Ukraine was so destructive. Like, everybody drinks, women, men, like, it's just the cultural thing. And it was very prevalent during Soviet Union, and it was kind of like a normal, everybody would drink. Like, you cannot go to anybody's house without getting shit faced and like completely wasted. So that was like magic, because when you take this mushroom, you just lose the will like, it's not, you just don't want to, you just absolutely don't want to. It doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't give you anything. So, but besides of that, it's like, it gives you creativity and a whole bunch of this, like whole other types of healing, which I think I want to do like a full episode on that, besides the episode that we'll be doing on psychedelics. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
And that's the best way to shift addictions, to just shift it on that level that you just no longer think about or want it anymore,
Mhm.
because it's too much work to be constantly thinking of not doing something or
Mhm.
having that push and pull in that conversation with.
Resisting it. Yeah.
Yeah, or, any kind of addictions, like we have food addictions, TV addictions, shopping addictions, and when
Yeah.
those thoughts come up, it's like all day, you just not all day, but like often you're like, should I do this? No, I shouldn't do this, but I want to do this, but you shouldn't do
Mhm.
this. Shifting it on that deep level, that's not even a thought that comes up anymore. It's not this like yeah, this intrusion or habit that pushes you through. It's just gone. You just deal with it
Yeah, you
as
just no, you just don't have the desire anymore. That's it.
yeah.
It would be great. I don't know. I'm not. I'm still researching this particular mushroom, because not much research has been done on it yet. But I really want to know if it helps food addictions. That would be the key to so many, because I feel we've been like coded to just eat and eat and eat when we feel bad, when we just like bored or whatever. And we have a lot of people, especially in America, they have this food addiction. I'm not going to make any claims right now, but it would be amazing if this mushroom can help with this particular addiction too.
That would be amazing.
I know. It'd be such a, well, and again, there is no cure all. You still have to do the mental work. And we all know that any type of physical stuff comes from the brain. So if you fix it in your brain, if you do the mental work, if you understand why you're eating and remove that, or don't even understand why you're eating, just kind of like clear the debris from your brain, it will influence your physical. But this could be like a little push, that little catalyst that kind of pushes you into the right direction, just like psychedelics are. They are not cure all. And I know there was a lot of negative feedback on the fact that that governor banned the bill about psychedelics becoming like going into free use, right? Becoming non-criminalistic, or how do you say it?
Like
Uh,
decriminalizing it?
Decriminalized, like psychedelics becoming decriminalized in California. And what he is trying to do, he's trying to regulate it. He's trying to make sure that people don't just simply carry and possess and just take psychedelics all day, that they do it with the professional.
Mhm.
Professional like gives them and sits them, and this is my core belief. So I kind of agree with him doing that, because Yeah, you can take the psychedelics yourself, and they might do something. They might affect, because they do affect the brain, and they you have those profound experiences, and you it might shift some stuff for you. But trust me, it does minimum without integration. Integration is the major part of the healing process with psychedelics. You have to have a person who sits you when you during your trip, and you have to have a person who helps you integrate whatever profound things happen to you in that trip into your everyday life, because this is the hardest. It's the hardest to take that experience, right, whatever profound experience, and use it and stay on top of it and integrate it into your life. You need help with that, and that's why I'm totally against just randomly taking and using psychedelics, whatever, because for like recreational use, kind of like marijuana became, like cannabis became, because that is the instrument for your healing. It's not a fun pill. It's not just for fun to do. So yeah, that's my take on it.
You're right. Yeah, the integration is the was like the I wouldn't say the most important part, but it's
Integration.
equally important. It's equally important as the experience itself to
Yeah.
make sure that you are holding on to everything that you are integrating basically what you experienced. And we
For
will
sure.
do an episode on psychedelics.
Yeah. No, I do think that the healing comes from there. The medicine itself does minimal, does work, like push you through, but the healing comes with the person who walks you through that. And you can, like, again, you can do it yourself when you know what you're doing, like if you know the journaling, if you know the practical stuff, like different tools and different things. But I can tell you from my experience, I know, like, I have tons of tools. It is impossible to use on me when I'm in the lowest state.
Yeah.
Like really, I tried different things. And when I was in this deep depression a couple of months ago, nothing works. I tried everything that I could possibly try on me, psychedelic including. And I needed that help from outside. So I have like now three different therapists that I'm work with, different type of therapy, but I'm getting out slowly from that rabbit hole, from that deep cave that I was in, with help of psychedelics and help of different therapy coaches and healers and things like that. Even being a healer myself and knowing what needs to be done, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Because you need the person, like a bird's eye view. You need somebody who sees this from the outside and can look at it objectively.
Yeah,
And
and just takes your hand and tells you everything's going to be okay.
and to help you integrate it into your daily life, right?
Yeah, I know
Because
it's like you cannot really do surgery, good surgery on yourself, right? You're going to have somebody to help you out. So definitely seek help if you need help. Don't be ashamed that you need help. Okay, go into, and lastly, like, make this last big one thing.
yeah. And the other thing with Pluto going into Aquarius, we might notice changes in the psyche and how we treat the psyche, changes in psychology, psychotherapy, mind brain related studies, neurobiology, neuroscience. And it's crazy to believe that up until a few years ago, psychology or going to therapy was seen as still kind of taboo or it wasn't widely accepted. And now I think it is. Well, at least in North America, it's just widely accepted that, everybody should go to therapy. It's helpful for everybody. And so we might see even more changes in evolution in psychology and this therapy, and how those fields will combine biological sciences and just new innovations to push and uncover our psyche and the powers that we have and that we forgot to use.
Yeah. And the most important that the Pluto represents and Aquarius kind of touches on is the anything mystical. Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. That's kind of like my realm. I'm actually thinking of going and getting a metaphysical doctorate degree, because this is going to be the new thing we're going to start studying anyway. It's coming into this stage. So the magical, metaphysical, anything unknown and unseen that we kind of know that exists, but we don't really know because we cannot prove. So we are shifting into this world where all of that will come to forefront of our existence. Like we're gonna have to be forced. We will be forced to tap into that. So anybody who's doing anything mystical, like astrology, tarot reading, I don't know, anything that was touched on was divinational with our series, with our divinational tools series. Start developing it more, because that's going to be your golden ticket. That will become your um, your stage. You will be able, because Pluto is also like influence and Aquarius is also influence. So you will be, if you become more authentic and more developed into your craft, you can impact millions. You'll be able to be a teacher and a leader and the guide in that. So start developing, start tapping in, start clearing your fears and your resistance against that. I'm talking to myself actually, because I have a lot of fears and resistance around it. And it's like, oh, that's all stupid. It's not scientifically proven, so it's not true. But it is true. It is still exists, even if it's not proven. Just kind of like gravity. I mean, we know it exists, but nobody can see it. So yes, it's gonna be enormous explosion of anything connected to mystical, esoteric studies and metaphysical studies. Yeah, I think we might need to do the episode on human design, new way of living, because human design also talks about that shift that we will become from the material world and connected to the physical, like Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, physical, rooted into everything needs to be touched, everything needs to be physically proven, into the world of lightness and like etheric being, and shifting into the getting able to touch, or being able to touch non-existent stuff. So yeah, go ahead and revisit episodes on the divination tools to know what tools you can develop and what are you being drawn to develop further in yourself, because you don't even have to become an expert on that. But you will be able to use them, and it will enhance your way of living, and it will help you to get through this Pluto transition, this Pluto in Aquarius stage. It trust me, it will. You can also check out my course, where I talk about very simple tools. It's a quick course, it's just 1 hour. I'm going to leave the link in the description, but it gives you a simple practical tools that help you navigate daily life and kind of stay elevated and stay in the higher frequency and even manifest things.
Yes, that course is so good. And I like revisiting the grounding exercise. And it is just such a good course to learn how to manage and protect our energy and kind of take ownership of our energy. And I'm
Yeah.
so excited for, whoops, and I'm so excited for this shift into the more mystical. I'm very ready for it. And I do want to tap into some powers that have been forgotten. And I would just love to be able to do elemental magic, you know?
Yes. Oh, I would love for you to be able to do elemental magic. Let's look into it.
Yeah. So when I can make fire with my hands, I will let you know.
Oh my God, can you imagine? That's going to be so cool. That will be so cool, because that will happen.
Just little fireballs. All right. So we dove all into Pluto, what Pluto going into Aquarius might mean, and some changes that can be predicted or might be predicted, where we might see the influences of Pluto and Aquarius. And we do also want to tell you about what this means for each sign, what Pluto going into Aquarius means for each sign. But we ran out of time for today. We already have quite a long episode, so we will talk about this in the next episode. Stay tuned. We are going to talk about what Pluto and Aquarius means for each sign, like Aquarius, Capricorns, all of us. So we will talk about how Pluto will affect each sign in the big picture, and we will also tell you about how you can look into your sign in particular for you personally, and what the influence of Pluto can be for you over the next 20 years of the shift in Aquarius.
Yes, so definitely go in, and before you listen to that second episode, print out your birth chart so you can look at your chart and follow along what we will be telling you, how it affects you personally based on your birth chart and where Pluto was, where you were born.
That's right. Okay, thank you all for joining us today. Hope you learned something new and insightful. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it with a friend, somebody you know that might enjoy it, and leave a rating on our podcast. This helps us reach more and more people. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us over Instagram. We would love to hear back from you.